as early as 2006, a third world war would break out from circumstances and events which will take on a life of their own and multiply and carry on, and they've outlined some of them. You know, is this just crazy guy in Switzerland with doom and gloom, and let's just call him an anti-American jerk, and Michael Horn's talking about it with all this passion? I kind of care about not seeing this happen. So I couldn't be wrong by, quote-unquote, believing that this could be true and by bringing it to people. But that's why I'm saying, will you people just do your own homework on this? If the case is legitimate, does it not at least bear examination? And have the media and the government and the politicians look at something that's been going on for 62 straight years. A man has dodged bullets and knives for 19 of those years because someone wants to put him out of their misery.
I'm sure.
That's a lot of trouble to go to for a hoaxer. How does a man raise a family with 3 people, a 30-year marriage which crumbles while he's planting his crops and all the rest of it, taking 1,200 clear daytime photographs, 8 films. He's got a video, sound recordings, and metal samples. He publishes prophetically accurate information. He must be a genius, a mad genius of a stellar level with astounding abilities, or he's a real contactee.
Well, that's why you're on the air, Michael, because this is all very interesting, disturbing, interesting.
Disturbing as hell.
Yeah, it really is. Sure it is. For a lot of people, it's extremely
And that's
disturbing.
what I'm saying. Please, folks, there are other specific little chunk-down personal things that each of us can do to actually turn this. We can turn it just by sheer numbers. You know that when somebody writes a letter, for instance, or calls a radio or TV station or a newspaper, whatever, just like when you do that with a political person, that registers in the media as representing a larger number than that individual thing. Imagine if the people tonight that are listening, they don't even have to believe this damn thing, but they want to demand that they find out, look, this thing's going on, let's find out. Could this be at all true?
What have they said regarding a deep impact by some kind of comet or asteroid? Is that the September date we were talking about?
They did not give the date on it. They did give a location, as I recall, between the Black Sea and the North Sea. And what they said was that this is a prediction. We're going to get it at some point. And the problem, remember when we talked about the petroleum being extracted from the Earth?
Yes.
And they said the other problem you have with that is this. The petroleum is produced by the planet as a kind of buffer, a synovial fluid, a cushion for the plates of the Earth. When you recklessly and heedlessly extract it and the natural gas, and you create these caverns, you create a plate fragility, so that when an object comes in from space and hits, instead of the planet absorbing the blow,
I've got you.
You have fractures, you've got magma coming up, you've got seawater. So they're saying, again, folks, you haven't paid attention. You've got to get off of that petroleum thing, but you've gone pretty far. You've set yourself up for in a very vulnerable position.
All right. Okay, what supposedly has given Meier the power to prophesize then, with regard to what he has said by himself? Is this a power imparted by the...
No. This I will try to tell it as cleanly as I can, and I'll put it this way. Remember we went back to the reincarnation thing, and they said that they contract spirit forms. What is said in the material, just as, boldface, as far as they're concerned, it's their truth. Meier's spirit is a very, very old and tested and tried spirit. They knew that he had done this before and, and had the capacity in this life to be tutored again. He would learn how to do it again. But it would be his own innate abilities that he had earned as a spirit form, not as Billy Meier, but whoever he was before, that kind of stuff, that he was the guy that would be able to do it again. And it's, as you say, it's always been a thankless job, and there have been people throughout history in different cultures that have been messengers or prophets or heralds, whatever you want to call them.
All right. Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Michael Horn. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hi, Art. How's it going?
It's going okay, sir.
It's like there was a couple of moments in the show everybody should have sat back and taken a Xanax. Wow, a lot of energy here tonight.
Well, energy is our middle name. What's up? You got a question?
Yes, Art. Okay, now what I want to know is, if they have all this great technical and scientific and medical abilities, why didn't they just try to, like regrow Billy's arm?
Yeah,
they actually offered him a prosthesis that utilized their kind of android technology, and he said, well, no, this is an illogical thing to do, because should I suddenly have an arm back that functions so well, not only would people be wondering how this happened and where, but they would engender jealousy and more resentment, and it would be an inequality, and I'd be treated as a special person, and it would only create more grief for me than not having the arm. And that's what he told them, and they said, well, you're very logical. That's good enough for us.
That is probably what would occur, actually.
There's no doubt. I mean, here's a special guy that goes around and he says he's in spaceships and now his arm is back. I mean, then you've got a cult of, he must be, the second coming or gosh knows what, and then you're back off into that whole drama again.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael Horn. Hello.
Yes.
For the purpose of this program, sir, the issue really is Billy Meier the real thing?
Well, from what I've heard, I'm convinced that it's legitimate. The prophecy, the parts that, he had already said these things that have come about, we should take into account what he's saying is coming. We don't even need a prophet to see what's coming. These things are pretty obvious to see anyhow.
It's true.
We're heading downward, and we have to turn around here.
We're just being told, for what it's worth, by some other folks, that it's going to be worse than we can imagine if we don't make the course correction.
I agree, and it's a grassroots movement. It's something we have to do on an individual basis.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to do. I've been trying to start a grassroots organization here called the Masterpiece Project for years, and I can't even get it off the ground.
First time caller line, you're on the air with Michael Horn. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I had a question for your guest. About he was talking about the Palestinian conflict there. I was wondering what was the outcome prediction on that?
Okay, it's you asked it, so I'm going to give it to you the way I've read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless the Israelis and the Palestinians find a way to make a true peace, and they've been critical of both. They've been very critical of Israel. They have said that the state of Israel will, in the near future, cease to exist. Period. And they, look...
Do you think they reference what we know biblically as Armageddon?
Well, they don't use those terms, but what, and this is my editorial on it, when you have to understand, I'm neither a religious nor a political person. It's very late in my life that I even started to look into these things. And what I did is I picked up, and this is going to offend all my brethren who, let's say, are of the background that my family is Jewish. I got into the first 5 books of the Old Testament. I read, parts of Samuel and Numbers and what the heck, Joshua and all this, and I saw something there that disturbed me enormously. I saw the presumed God of that book commanding infanticide and genocide on a huge, huge scale. When I sat down and actually culled and did the math, there were 10 million people at minimum who were commanded to be slain, most of whom were innocent non-combatants, and this is not necessarily a program right now on biblical stuff. There is a cause and effect that has never been renounced by the Israelis. We in America renounced our genocides, if you will, against the Native Americans, our unfair and brutal treatment against blacks. We've tried to do something about that. That's never been dealt with or renounced, and I would offer a very unpleasant point of view. The horror that's being visited upon innocent Israelis now, truly innocent people, children, without any, this is barbarism. But there again, the laws of cause and effect can't be cheated. Read the Old Testament and you will see the commandments for infanticide without mercy. I didn't make it up, and it sickened me and it made me sad. And as I say, I come to this late in life with no political or religious affiliation, but you know what? When the Playaran here are saying, look, Yasser Arafat, this is a walking disaster. Ariel Sharon is as guilty as the rest. Saddam Hussein has to go. George Bush, Blair. Oh, well, we don't like the Bush part, and we may not like the Ariel Sharon part. But there it is. Do with it what you will. Examine it. Find out if this rings true, and do the hard soul searching. Are we on the wrong path? Should we not withdraw from certain things lest it come back on us?
I don't know. It's worth considering, Michael. No question about that. All right, hold tight right where you are. These are hard questions. A lot of them come down as sounding really anti-American. But every now and then, I suppose, as Americans, we should examine how we're thought of and perceived in the rest of the world. Right? That's a reasonable thing to do. What a wild night of radio, Under that big full moon up there, But then again, that's what we're here for. From the high desert in the middle of the night, this is Coast to Coast AM.